Man squatted at the hatch of the submersible, watching his teammate descend 400 meters into the deep sea to work. But instead of helping, he reached out and cut off his teammate's oxygen. The other two team members froze in place, their eyes widened in disbelief, not understanding why he would do something so insane. Very soon, a weak voice came through the communicator. But hearing that, the two teammates who had just been shocked did not turn the oxygen back on. Instead, they pulled off his tether and threw it into the sea, leaving him no chance to return, letting him suffocate to death. Killing a teammate who lived and worked alongside them turned the atmosphere in the submersible dead silent. But the three of them had no choice. Because of the storm, they were trapped 400 meters under the sea, and their oxygen was running out. The teammate who insisted on diving had wasted precious air. They had no other options. Just as they were filled with guilt, a strange sound suddenly came from nearby. The three looked closely and found the heater was broken. The temperature in the deep sea was extremely low. Without the heater, they would freeze to death very soon. At that moment, the man who had dived for the first time suddenly came up with an idea. He used a welding torch to keep heating the water tank. Soon, under the blaze, thick steam began to rise from the tank. The temperature inside the submersible slowly increased. The three started smiling, but when the captain turned around, he realized that most of the remaining oxygen had been consumed by the welding torch. Their joy instantly turned into despair, as the oxygen was about to run out, and the rescue team was nowhere in sight. The three lost all hope of survival. Following the captain's lead, they began writing farewell letters to their families. But just then, the rescue team's voice suddenly came through the communicator. The captain was startled, quickly moved closer, grabbed the communicator, and told the rescue team their current position. But to his surprise, the rescue team said the storm was still raging, and the ship couldn't get close at all. They'd need at least 3 more hours to get them out alive. Hearing that, the captain was devastated, because their remaining oxygen wasn't even enough for 3 people to breathe for 1 hour. There was no way they'd last that long. While he was deeply worried, Hunter came up with an idea. At the junction of the oil pipeline, there might be spare oxygen tanks for maintenance workers. If they could find those tanks, they could hold out much longer. This made the captain hesitate, because diving would speed up oxygen consumption. If they failed to find the tanks, they wouldn't even last an hour. But at a life or death moment, he couldn't think of a better plan. After a short consideration, he agreed to Hunter's proposal. Soon Hunter put on his suit and headed toward the pipeline junction. The man and the captain stayed inside the diving bell, guiding him from there. The tether slowly sank into the water and soon disappeared halfway. But in the pitch-black sea, Hunter couldn't find the pipeline. With oxygen nearly gone, the two left behind fell into despair. Suddenly Hunter turned around, and a long oil pipeline appeared in front of him. The man was thrilled to hear the news, but to his surprise, the junction was completely empty. There were no oxygen tanks at all. The man quickly checked the map and realized Hunter was at the wrong pipe. He immediately called out to redirect him. Under guidance, Hunter kept moving. Not far ahead, he spotted an oxygen tank, but by now the tether had reached its limit. He couldn't move forward at all. In desperation, Hunter made a bold decision. The next second, his voice vanished from the communicator. This made the captain very worried. Ignoring the dangerously low oxygen, he jumped into the water and followed the tether to look for Hunter. He found Hunter lying nearby, holding the oxygen tank. The captain didn't hesitate, grabbed him and swam back toward the bell. 10 minutes later, with help from the man, he successfully brought Hunter back, but the oxygen had already run out. Alarms blared, lights flashed wildly. The captain acted fast and started giving Hunter CPR. At the same time, he urged the man to switch out the oxygen tank. The tense moment made the man panic. It took him a lot of effort to install the tank. As the sound of air filled the room, oxygen levels quickly rose, and calm was slowly restored. Then the two quickly fitted Hunter with a rescue mask. With oxygen flowing in, he gradually regained consciousness. Hunter was successfully revived, and with the recovered oxygen, they could now last until the rescue arrived. The captain and the man finally smiled in relief. At that moment, the communicator behind them buzzed again. The captain quickly grabbed it and asked if the rescue team had arrived, but the rescue team said, though they had reached the area, there was wreckage everywhere. They couldn't pinpoint the exact location of the bell, and didn't know how much longer it would take. After saying that, they cut off communication, without waiting for the captain's reply. Hearing the silence, the captain weakly put down the communicator, and sank into deep despair, because the oxygen they had wouldn't last that long. The man noticed something was off, quickly stepped forward to comfort him, and suggested releasing a beacon to mark their location, but that meant someone had to risk diving into the water. After a long discussion, the captain volunteered volunteered to go. He quickly suited up and swam to the designated spot. But just as he was about to activate the beacon, his hands went weak from lack of oxygen. He couldn't open the beacon at all. In a panic, he tore off his gloves and tried again. But at that moment, dozens of venomous jellyfish had silently gathered around him, focused on the beacon. The captain didn't notice the danger until a sharp pain hit his hand. That's when he realized he was trapped in a swarm of jellyfish. He couldn't move. In the chaos, the beacon slipped from his hand. More jellyfish swarmed around. The situation reached a critical point, but the captain suddenly calmed down. Ignoring his teammates yelling in his headset, he untied the tether and swam upward with all his strength. He forced his way through the dense jellyfish. With bloody hands, he grabbed the drifting beacon and used his last bit of strength to flip the switch. Satisfied, he let go and watched the flashing light float upward while his body convulsed from the poison and sank into the dark deep sea. The captain's sacrifice brought hope to the two survivors, but they didn't feel joy, only sat in silence, waiting for rescue. Suddenly Hunter heard the rescue team again. He quickly put on the communicator and asked if they had found the bell, but the team said they had finally located it. However, it was too deep and would take at least another hour to reach, but they didn't have enough oxygen to survive that long. Hunter thought for a long time and came up with a bold plan. He shut the hatch, tightened the valve, then smashed the controller glass and activated the ascent switch. As the chains released, the bell slowly began to rise. The massive pressure change made the lights flicker violently. It felt like the bell could explode at any moment. Hunter and the man strapped in, holding on to whatever they could, bracing for the worst. But thankfully the bell held strong and quickly rose to just 60 meters from the surface. But suddenly the cable got snagged on wreckage. The bell stopped at 40 meters, as if fate refused to let them escape. With oxygen almost gone, 40 meters wasn't deep, but it would still take the rescue team half an hour to get there. The man completely broke down, pacing around the small cabin, but Hunter stayed calm, as if he had another plan. He led the man to the escape pod, planning to swim up using a diving suit, but to their shock, there was only one suit left. At the critical moment, Hunter didn't hesitate. He stepped past the stunned man and picked up the suit first. The man was furious at Hunter's actions. He quietly turned away, picked up a knife, and stood behind Hunter, ready to snatch the suit. But Hunter stayed calm and said calmly,
"You can do it."
Hearing that, the man gave up. He wasn't Hunter's match, so he dropped the knife and waited to die. But the next second, he was stunned. Hunter didn't leave. Instead, he handed over a letter he had written, asking the man to deliver it to his family. If he survived, then he helped the man into the suit and informed the rescue team. Just like that, the man entered the water, carrying Hunter's hopes, and began to swim toward the surface, but without proper decompression. As he neared the surface, his head suddenly throbbed, and his organs felt like they were swelling. In horror, a metallic taste flooded his throat. He ripped off his helmet, and blood poured out of his mouth. That meant his organs had ruptured from decompression sickness. He needed immediate help. In this life or death moment, the man had to gamble. He endured the pain of his body tearing apart, and swam upward at full speed. The intense urge to breathe made him open his mouth wide. As blood kept pouring out, seawater rushed into his lungs. Bubbles exploded all around him. The man was on the brink of death, surviving only by sheer will, and just before losing consciousness, he broke the surface, floating helplessly. Luckily, the rescue team was nearby. They grabbed him and pulled him onto the rescue boat. At the same time, oxygen in the diving bell was depleted. The pressure inside collapsed. Water rushed in and rose to Hunter's chest, but he didn't give up. He dove underwater, trying to swim up on his own, but without enough oxygen, he was too weak and quickly began choking. Still, he didn't want to give up. He fought through the pain and kept swimming, but Hunter couldn't defeat his limits. His mind faded, and after pushing a little farther, he couldn't go on. He slowly sank into the cold and silent deep sea.